Out by the barn where the stories grow, under the sun where the warm winds blow. A sanctuary where the hearts unite. Come join the love in the golden light. Love lives here where the open skies sing. Every soul finds a place to cling. Join us today, feel the warmth inside, in the Barnside Chat where the love won't hide. Whispers of care in the gentle breeze, laughter that dances among the trees. Every life matters, every heart's a flame. Together we gather, no one's the same. Love lives here where the open skies sing. Every soul finds a place to cling. Join us today, feel the warmth inside, in the Barnside Chat where the love won't hide. Love lives here where the open skies sing. Every soul finds a place to cling. Join us today, feel the warmth inside, in the Barnside Chat where the love won't hide.
Hello, friends. How is everybody doing? It's good to see everybody today. Welcome to Heath's Barnside Chat. My name is Derek. I'm Executive Director and Co-Founder here at Happily Ever Esther Farm Sanctuary, located in Sheffield, Ontario, Canada. It's good to see everybody. Thank you, Gail, for tuning in. Hello, Sylvia from Montreal. Hello to Alyssa from New York. We got a big representation from New York today. Hello to Deb Merrick, Maryland. Hello. I hope everybody had a fantastic week. Thank you so much for tuning in on today's Barnside Chat. As always, we're going to do some resident updates, some facilities updates, and then we'll take some questions from the Magic Rainbow Bag if there are any questions in today's program. All you have to do is put them in the comment feed below, and when it comes time, we'll scroll back through the messages here, and then if there are no questions, you can also email us or private message us, and we'll get to those questions next week. All right, as always, we're going to start off with the resident updates, and there are a few of them this week, so let's just cut right in. The first resident update that we want to talk about is, of course, if you are part of our email family, you know that right now we are experiencing some extreme cold conditions, and that has us wanting to do better for this herd, Sammy's herd. Right now they're sleeping in the arena, which is a covered space, but it is just as cold in there as it is outside, and we are using mountains of straw to keep them warm. It's last night it was minus 29. The day before that was around minus 35, and this morning around minus 23. And tonight, is same thing, around minus 23. Just really flipping cold. And all of the residents that live in the arena, with the exception of Sammy's herd, have these beautiful cottages that they sleep in. And the cottages are insulated and heated, and we want to get a couple more of those cottages for Sammy's family. And there are 9 pigs in Sammy's family, and 2 cottages would be just right for them. And it's going to help out in so many ways. The ways that it'll help out, of course, is to keep them warm, because right now we're spending a lot of time going and covering them up. And if in the middle of the night, if they get up to go to use the washroom or something, or to get a drink, they're uncovered, and that worries me. I don't want anybody to be cold. So right now we're fundraising for 2 new little houses within 2 new cabins within their area, and we're asking for your help. So if you got that email and you have already donated, thank you so much for hearing our call. If you haven't got that email, you should get signed up so that you know you know firsthand what the needs of the farm are, and we're trying to. The goal is $15,000. The sheds are each around $7,000 each, and then there's about $1,000 worth of modifications that need to be made in order to make those cottages pig safe. So just a few reinforcements. We have to change out the hardware on the doors. Because the hardware that comes on the doors is meant for humans and not pigs, so we beef those up a little bit. Bad analogy. Anyways, so we're trying to raise $15,000, and so far we're around 35% of the way there, and we have the opportunity to save about $1,000 on the purchase of the two cabins if we make that payment by Valentine's Day. And so they have a pre-spring sale, and so $1,000 saved. It might not sound like a big savings, but that's a big savings to us, especially when we're examining every single donor dollar that is spent to make sure that it is helping the residents in the best way possible. The cottages were a dream that we had for a few years on the plan, but just with how extremely cold it is, it makes us want to never have another winter without those cottages. So if you're in a position to give and donate, please head on over to happilyeverester.ca, and actually here's the link for the cottages for Sandy. There it is on the comment feed. You can find that and click on that, and we thank you so very much. Thank you very much, Gail, for donating towards that. I can't wait to call. I mean, I hope I'm able to call the end of this week and be able to order those cottages, but I can't until we have fundraised the proper amount. So we're looking for $15,000, and as always, we just can't thank you enough for your love and support here. And we know that you want Sammy and his herd to be as warm as we possibly can, we all thank you for your love here. Okay, next topic that we're going to talk about. Oops, there it is. Well, you can see, let me put the photo back up. You can see all that steam coming off of the pigs out of their breath. It was just creating this steam storm. And I have another little video somewhere. I'm sure it'll come up a little further along in the program. Well, let's talk about this little stinker. This is little Eleanor Stinker, and my gosh, is she getting big. She is so big. She's almost as big as Callie now. And so she's definitely over 65 pounds now. And we have yet to have her back in the main barn in a short while since she got her spay. So she's been in isolation quarantine in a heated space to make sure that she is healing appropriately, and she's just doing so great. And we'll be moving her back to the barn soon enough, but we have to wait. There's this GI thing that went through our pigs here in the barn, and we have to make sure that there's a certain amount of time that passes before we'll have her come back to the barn. Because we don't want to, she is a young one. Our young ones and our old ones are who we worry about the most when something like this passes through the barn, passes through the herd. So we want to make sure there's enough time passed in order to bring the little stinker home safely. But she's doing very well. Look at these two friends floating about. They're having a nap. Oh my gosh, Bonnie and Herb. It's so cold. Their pond is almost all frozen over except for this small section right where the heater is, coincidentally. When it's not as cold as it's been the past couple of weeks, the pond doesn't freeze over completely, but it's getting close. It is getting real close. But I love how they're just floating around, having a little nap there with their heads down. I love it. And they let me film it. I thought for sure as soon as I pointed my camera at it, they would stop doing that. This week we had the vet by. This is Dr. Glenn, and Dr. Glenn had a few things on their agenda here. The first thing that we were looking at was our friend Emma here, who has a back right leg injury and has had that injury for a couple of weeks now with no sign of getting better. And the doctor worries that it's nerve damage and that she's dropping her right ankle. So when she walks, her right ankle, she doesn't pick that foot up and it drags. And so it's causing her complications, like you might imagine. And we can't have her in with the rest of the herd right now because of it. We want to give her as much downtime as she needs to feel better. But the doctor fears that this might be her new normal. He thinks that perhaps there was an injury that was sustained, and we don't know how it happened. It was probably one of her herd mates. So she lives with Obama and Catherine and Jeannie and Abraham. And I can't imagine it would have been Jeannie that Jeannie doesn't seem to have that behavior anymore. But I've certainly seen it out of Catherine and out of Abraham and also out of Obama. But it's perhaps that somebody has, hit her. We'll never know, unfortunately, but the best that we can do is support Emma right now in what might be her forever new state. And we'll have to figure out what that looks like that we can do to support Emma, because we don't want her being in pain. So we need to be able to manage that. And we need to be able to manage her enrichment as well with the people that she's able to be with. So yeah, fingers crossed for Emma. We have Bennett Equine is coming to take X-rays to let us see what it is that we're looking at. We hope that there's nothing major to find and just some arthritis. Arthritis is definitely present. We know that because of her age, but we hope that there's nothing broken. So here's hoping. Everybody keep your fingers crossed for our dear lady Emma. You can see Dr. Glenn was, moving each of her joints and seeing how she would react to different pressure points and trying to figure out just exactly what was wrong. But the best course that we can do right now is get some x-ray images. So those will be happening today or tomorrow. Now here he is also checking out our dear friend Brian, who has lost a ton of weight. And he's just picking up Brian and feeling him and feeling around and seeing if there's anything that is noticeable but unremarkable. I mean, what was remarkable is that just he's lost a ton of weight and you can feel his bones. And the biggest part on him is his crop right now. And that's, if you don't know what the crop is, that's where all the food goes into first in the crop and then gets digested by the gizzard, etc., etc. But he's lost a ton of weight. We've increased his food by 1.5 times, so he's quite happy about that. And he has to be isolated when he's eating so that the others don't get his food. Fingers crossed. We're going to take some blood and fecal testing from them, and we'll see if there's anything to learn. With this specific breed of bird, unfortunately, cancers are usually what pop up, and and of course, a ton of weight loss has us concerned. So we'll see how this new diet goes, and also what the new tests tell us. Jeannie had some blood work taken this past week as well, just to get a baseline for where they are in their medical journey. Jeannie is on daily NSAIDs and also daily other pain meds to help her out. And so part of our due diligence is making sure that we're not causing harm in other ways. So getting a baseline for the blood work and repeating that, every 4 to 6 months allows us to make sure that we're not making things worse, and gives us a baseline. So Jeannie had some blood work done. Catherine had blood work done because if you remember last week, we were talking about a UTI with Catherine, and blood is present in Catherine's urine. So they're trying to figure that out as well. So some more urine was collected, blood was collected, that was sent off to the lab, and we should have lab results in the next few days coming. Never a dull moment on the farm. Man, we had some restless pigs here this past week. The pigs are bored. They're like humans. If they're locked inside, they go cabin crazy. And when I say locked inside, they're not locked inside. They can go outside, but it's just so it's so cold out that they are not spending much time outside at all. So who can blame them for being bored? And it's up to us to give them something that they can be enriched by. And they love tarps. tarps, just your standard, cheapest blue tarp that you can get. And we cut off the rivets. The rivets are what you tie rope to, but they're just these like little metal grommets that we cut off. And then we give them the tarp, and they love the tactile feeling of crunching in and ripping in and shaking in and pulling on it. So we had some tarp time this week in the barn, and we also had some treat ball time in the barn. And this was when Malcolm's herd was hollering for something to do. From time to time, we can hear certain herds are more restless than the others, so we'll bring them into a different space and give them an activity. So in this case, it was tarp time and treat ball time. And so the treat balls are filled with either their kibble or Cheerios, or birdseed is also another popular thing for them to munch on. So we split the herd. Half went into a hallway that they are not typically in, and then the other half got to stay in. And we split between treat balls and tarp time. And then we brought the tarps over to the other side, and then the treat balls, everybody got a little bit of time each. So keeping everybody's brain stimulated and active this time of year. I'm sure you can relate that being indoors is kind of makes you a bit stir crazy. So yeah, it's there's Malcolm. Malcolm, this is Malcolm's herd. He says, "Oh, I would like some treat balls. I'm done with that tarp." Jolene was really interested in the tarp. Yeah, I love seeing them in the hallway shaking their tarp and pulling it around. It's awesome. But that's what we do for enrichment for those guys. Other things that we can do for enrichment is just forage feeding, and that's where their dry kibble, will toss it in a big hay pile, and then they have to suss through it and sort through it all and find the feed. So that's something else that we can do this time of year for them. But yeah, it was so cold. We did some belly rub. We did a belly rub trim on Brindle. There's Brindle Bear with his big, famous smile. There's Chris trying to get Brindle down for belly rubs, and April behind him going, "What's happening?" And Hercules and Mercy, they're all out sleeping in their day hay bed. And we did a hay trim, not before some cuddles though. I got in some cuddle time with Mama. And then we did some trimming on Mr. Brindle's back feet. Brindle's one of the pigs that lets us do trimming on his hooves without needing to go into the lift equipment that we have that lifts them up. So I think Brindle understands that he might just as well not fuss, or he's gonna be put into the shoot and squeeze. So he was a good boy, and he let us trim his hooves for about a half an hour before it was time for feed. So we did our best, got off all of his dew claws. And Mama there, she said, I was not interested in a hoof trim, so we'll have to catch up with Mama next week. And Mercy, you remember we had her up in the chute last week with the warming blanket, the bear hugger warming blanket on, and she's doing great with her hooves. We took off just an absolute pile of just really crappy hoof that had started to crumble and cave in on one side, and we took that all off, and she's doing great this week. I mean, she was out yesterday just standing in her hay pile for 40 minutes just nibbling away. And again today, when I went out in the arena just before we started this, I looked out. Actually, let's see if she's still there. She was eating hay. Nope, she is not eating hay anymore. It's just the birds. There's the cottages I was talking about before. You can see the brown cottage and let me see if I can get you a better view. Yeah, there's the brown cottage and the red cottage. So that's April's family's cottages. And then down this side, we've got the cottages for the birds. And now we have attracted worldwide attention. His big, big, big boy says, I was just about to come and see you. Sammy says, "Yeah, I would really like to have some cottages here that we could sleep in." So there's cottage. We want to put two cottages right here and right here. Huh? What do you say? He says, gosh darn it, it's a cold winter. Oh, hello, Robert. Hello, sir. Hello, hello. I wish you guys didn't get up. I wish you guys were still sleeping. Huh? Last night when I came in to check on them and cover them up, they were all sleeping together. Typically, Sammy's herd, they sleep in two different social group piles, sometimes three. Very rarely is it one, but last night everybody was together in one big pile because of how cold it is, I'm sure of it. And then we cover them all up. But if they get up in the middle of the night, like I said, and they go to get a drink, and they're not covered anymore, and they have to either cover themselves, which some of them don't do. But yeah, we would really like to add cottages for them, and I know Sammy's group is going to love them. Sammy's 8 years old, and he's got that he's tapping his back toe. You've heard us talk about it many times about that arthritis that shows up in the pigs very early on, and that's a telltale sign. And we those cottages would help in so many ways with keeping his bones warm and covered, and just the heat, their radiant heat from several pigs in one of those buildings is for sure going to be nice and toasty warm. And if it's not toasty warm, we can turn the heat on because there are these oil heaters, radiant oil heaters that we can turn on for them. But I suspect with 4 or 5 pigs in one of those insulated cottages that is going to be well enough to keep it heated and warm. And just like April's family, it took them a little while to get used to it. We had to shuffle their outside beds around and take them away slowly so that by process of elimination, they didn't have anywhere else to sleep but those cottages. And then now, we can start to see a couple of areas where beds are starting to form outside again. So, yeah, we really want to add those cottages for Sammy's family, and just be an easy, just peace of mind. Just, I think about them so much when it is so bloody cold out, and we do everything that we can to keep them warm with straw and blankets. But these cottages, they are an absolute must, and it'll have a reverse effect too in the summer when it's hot out. Those buildings will be cooler because we'll be able to have centralized fans in them, and there'll be also less flies or less pests that way because they're covered in little enclosed units, just like the ones that April's have. Yeah. What else is going on? Oh my gosh, seeing these two sleeping, crouched up. Look, check out the feet. Count the feet there. Yeah, they're sleeping on one foot with their head tucked under. So cute. I'd never seen them do that before, up on the bale like that. I'd seen them sleeping like where they're crouched down and not standing, but never like that. Like kind of like a flamingo. 2 flamingos there. What else is going on? I got so many slides to talk. Oh, we did that one. That was treat ball time with the family. We did. We got Iona, who got her ear pinched by one of the pigs, almost all the way through, but it scabbed up nice and it healed quick and easy, thankfully. So this is just the caretaking team tending to her ear and making sure that it's healing up well, and looking like she's getting some belly rubs as well. Check out the cloud of steam coming up from each of their warm bowls. So in the morning when it's really cold, the pigs get extra dinner for they need more calories. So they get 1.5 times their meal, and we prepare it with hot water. And sometimes it goes out still steaming because here's one. That means the kitchen's working really hard if the bowls go out still steaming. Nice warm breakfast. It's got to feel good on the stomach in the morning when it's minus 30 out. Got it. Yeah. Jeannie Bean. Jeannie Bean, you've heard us talk about her knees, her legs. You remember Chris wrapping her knees up, providing extra support. Well, here's a shot of that scab that small wound that's now all healed up, and it's got fresh, pink, bright skin that's there. And so we don't have to wrap that one anymore, but we're keeping an eye on all of her legs, of course, because she's spending a lot of time down, of course, and using her elbows, for lack of a better term, to get up. So they get raw and the hair is worn off of them. But this one's all healed up nice, and we'll continue to root for Jeannie Bean. Here's somebody who's having a rough day. He's upside down. He's like a traffic accident that has happened there, upside down and inside out. And that is Mr. Ricky, who is clearly suffering in this photo. Let's see the last photo here. Oh, Eleanor is so big she can hardly fit on your lap anymore. She wants to nestle in and get in your coat, and she loves to have. She loves just to bend down. She comes right up on you and wants to like get in your coat. And if you just lay the right way, she'll lay down and rock a nap with you. But man, she's so big. It's going to be interesting to see how she wants to carry that behavior on when she's 400 pounds, when she's 600 pounds. It's gonna be funny. And she still loves her zippers and her buttons and anything that she can grab at that's in your pocket. She's a little rascal. Okay, I think that's all of the resident updates. The facilities updates are small and short this week. Of course, we're battling the cold and keeping stuff unfrozen. We had frozen pipes this week, frozen hoses. Just learning the way this farm works when it's this bloody cold. There is a heater in the wash stall. It's a propane heater, and it's up high. But we've never had it on since getting here. Last winter, we didn't need it. It seemed to not get as cold last winter, and we didn't have the freezing problems that we're having this year. But we definitely want to get that heater going. And I've called a furnace mechanical company that's going to come and inspect it and look at it and tag it as safe. If it's not able to be tagged as safe and we can use it, then we'll make sure that we get that all repaired up. But we would love to have that going in the wash stall, because having no water really created a problem when we were using buckets and taking buckets of water out of the staff kitchen area. And it just having that heater would help out in so many ways. So they're coming tomorrow to have a peek at that, and we'll update you next week if we have that going. Okay, we're going to have a quick peek at the weather. You can see that it is around -8 right now, and then you can double that with the wind chill. And then tonight going down to -19. And that's our last cold night of this week. I mean, -13 on Thursday, but none of this -25 and -30 stuff. It looks like the temperatures are starting to turn in the right direction. But, you know as well as I do, they can only predict the weather so far, and then stuff starts to change. So we're going to have one more extreme cold night here, it looks like. And we can hope that the groundhog was right and that spring is going to be here very soon. Actually, I think different groundhogs around the world have predicted different things. But anyways, I'm not going to take the weather or the seasons from a groundhog. Okay, let's see. Let's see if there are any questions. We've got a few minutes left here, so
What's in the bag?
we'll take some questions.
Magic rainbow bag. What's in the bag? The magic rainbow bag will answer all your questions.
Okay, we're going to answer all your questions from the Magic Rainbow Bag. Let me scroll back in time and see. Here we go. Would adding doors to the flaps in the arena add any heat for the pigs? Because the arena is so big, so the doors do have flaps on them right now that go to the exterior, and that definitely helps cut down on the wind chill. And we do want to add doors to those. For sure, that'll help cut down on some more of the drafts. But because the arena is so big, it's not going to have a drastic effect on the temperature. Where we've had the most success are with these cottages, and the birds do really well in them. April's family's doing really well in them. And yeah, we can think of ideas that we want to implement that are going to have a positive effect on the airflow of that arena, because that is definitely something that we need to dive into a little closer. But yeah, there are facilities upgrades, like adding some doors to the areas where there are just flaps. So we hope that we can have that nailed off this year as well, Kathy. So great question. Let me scroll back and scroll back and see. Do you hear piggies in the background? Yes, most definitely you hear piggies. I opened that arena door and they were like, "Is it dinner time? Is it dinner time?" Dinner time's not until around 3 o'clock, but anytime about 2 hours before dinner on either side, if you poke your head in there, they're going to expect something. So they were hoping it was dinner time, but it is not dinner time just yet. Question. It's been a while since I got here. It's good to see all the sweet souls. Is Andrea still with you? No, Andrea is not with us anymore. They resigned and they've moved out of the area and they're doing well. They still come and volunteer here, and I'll pass along that you were asking for them, Brenda. Let's see. Could Emma have arthritis? Yes, Sylvia. Emma definitely has arthritis. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You can hear it when you move the joint, and I'm sure that they'll be able to see it when the x-rays are taken. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with it. Yeah, we're going to try to figure out what's wrong, and we'll let you know what's happening. More questions. Think I scrolled all the way back through. Let me go now all the way to the bottom of the screen. Yeah, no more questions? All right, that's it for the Magic Rainbow Bag. If you are too nervous to put your question below in the comment feed, all you have to do, you can email it to us or you can private message us and we'll get to answering your question next week. Okay, I think we did it. We did it. We got all the way to the end of another episode of Barnside Chat. I love getting together each week with you. And last week we had bad news to share. And I want to thank everybody that sent your kind messages of love and support for the staff and the friends and family that are here on the ground as we celebrate Winifred's life. And this past week was beautiful getting to remember Winifred and see all of those wonderful posts. And I want to thank our community out there for holding us up in these hard times. Our hearts are never ready to say goodbye. When it does happen, it's nice to know that you're here to hold our hands and be a shoulder for us to cry on. Thank you so much for tuning into Barnside Chat. My name is Derek, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye, everyone.